worst question that an interviewer will ask you in an interview is, tell me about your career to date. And it's up to you as a candidate to try and minimize the chances of that question coming from an interviewer. Your CV is an interview tool, and it's an interview tool for the interviewer, not just for you. If you put into your key achievements some quality numbers and some quality phrases that the business can relate to, for instance, reduce headcount by 15% by delivering a target operating model change, chances are that the client's going to ask you a question like that rather than tell me about your career to date. Another way to stop the tell me about your career to date question is to start asking the client some questions as you sit down. So as part of the chit chat part of the conversation, trying to get the question in place along the lines of, tell me why I'm sat here today, or why are you looking to hire someone like me? That kind of question will get the client talking. Once they're talking, they're very unlikely to then ask you the question, tell me about your career to date. They're more likely going to tell you about the situation that they find themselves in, and then you'll find opportunities to add some anecdotal examples of where you've fixed something like that before. If you do get asked the question, tell me about your career to date, this has to be slick. If we think about the client, for instance, they've asked you the question, it could be for many reasons. It could be because they've always asked that question, or because they're short on time and they need some time to read through your CV, so they ask you a very general open question to get you talking. The challenge is that for most people, after 2 minutes, 3 minutes, they're probably a little bit bored, or perhaps might be ready to ask you more specific questions about the role that you're being interviewed for. So if you are asked the question, tell me about your career to date, make sure it's fairly short and sharp. 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes would be an absolute maximum to say to a client about your career to date. And when you've finished explaining about your career to date, the immediate follow-on question should be, tell me about why you want to interview someone like me, or tell me why you're looking to interview for this position. That way, you've had 2 or 3 minutes of talking, but then it's their turn to have 2 or 3 minutes of talking. And one of my old mentors always said to me, the more the client talks in an interview, the more they like you.